work to be able to effectively protect systems, resources, and so on and so forth, right? So, and what its architecture, like I told you, we have large language models, for instance, um, like um, OpenAI, which is a common use case, or open routers AI, which actually give access to a lot of large language models like GPT-4, GPT-5, or Llama, and so on and so forth, and lots of models which, are trained to also recognize malware. Okay, you see industry leading enterprises like Virus Total, like Sentinel One, Microsoft, Google, actually training their models, to further understand how malware works, how logs can be ingested, how to simplify the processes basically. And the core architecture components, one which is large language models, like I told you, which is the main engine, which is being trained, okay, on how to detect. For instance, like emails, most of phishing emails are actually built on urgency. For instance, like um, update your account now, or or offers which are too good to be true. So most of these keywords are actually um, included in this large language training, this large language model. So tool access, simply means like the project which we did, I introduced you to using APIs to connect and actually analyze email contents, okay, metadata and so on, using Virus Total API, right? And that's basically tool access. That's one of it. You can supply AI agents with tools, with APIs, right? To actually help simplify the process. Okay, and then memory, by extent, this is where everything is stored. Talking about the database, so you can store your conversation history and the state of the agent itself. For instance, I told you about this AI assistant which you now have, okay, which we've integrated to help you, particularly with questions about the project, about the program at large, and we've supplied it with resources. We're still training the data so it can actually provide accurate answers to serve our intents properly, right? And the memory context at this point is your searches and all that, right? We have to store them if we are able to, if we really want to train our model to actually serve you better, right? We have to train it, okay? And that is the memory part of it. We have to store them, okay? So we can be context aware. Well, what are use cases of AI agents in cybersecurity? SOC automation, right? Automated alert triage. Most of this, like I told you, are actually tier one analyst roles. Okay, and you can see most of these things can actually be handled, by um, AI agents, right? And that is because they can be able to perceive their environment in the sense that they can be actually they can be used to accept logs, uploads, or probably connecting using webhook, APIs and so on and so forth. Right? Can be used for SOC automation. Okay, can be used for phishing analysis, can be used for threat intelligence, continuous monitoring of threat feeds, correlating and checking against indicators of compromise, or in incident response processes, okay, where we have coordinated investigation workflows, evidence collection, containment procedures, or in log analysis, which is what we'll be doing today, or I am monitoring in cloud infrastructure, right? And this can also be integrated with security infrastructure or existing systems, and that's the beauty of AI agents, right? And this can actually be integrated to SIM platforms, data source connectors such as EDR, XDR platforms, like I said, cloud security APIs, identity and management systems, that is to monitor IAMs, and network monitoring tools, basically. These are how we can integrate them, you know, smoothly into our workflow. So the platform, or the framework rather, we'll be using to build AI agents, and there are numerous of them. We have AutoGen, okay, which you can also use to build AI agents, but in this case we are using Crew AI, okay, and this is just an open source framework for building collaborative AI agent teams that plan, execute complex tasks autonomously, okay, without constant human direction. Okay, so, and at this point, I'll be showing you how to actually build an AI agent, okay, for block analysis use case. Okay, and after that, your project will be to build a similar system as well. And to actually do that, I know you already have VS Code, since you must have used it in our previous session. However, there are libraries which you will need to install um, in your VS Code. And to do that, okay, basically you just need to come to your terminal. Here, if you want to toggle your terminal, you can access it from here. You click it, and then you can input um, the command to install, which is basically pip. If you can see what I'm writing, install, let's say, Crew AI. Okay, you hit enter here in your terminal, and then you will be able to install this framework. I'm not doing it because I already have it installed and I'm already running the system which we'll be using, and that is same for other libraries such as Streamlit, and I'll be telling you what these libraries mean in a minute. Okay, Streamlit, and we have .env, okay, which you also install, and after that we already have the script right here, which you will basically copy and paste, because we know not everyone has that Python background. But however, like I told you, though it's not a necessity, but it's important that you have at least the knowledge to know, okay, what these libraries are doing, and also to have these scripts with you, okay, because this will be instrumental, when you're applying on the job. So I'll go ahead and explain what this actually means. So I guess, okay, sorry, I have to admit someone and check. Um, Yep, Mr. Roland. Yeah, we are recording this session. Chike is recording, as confirmed. So, and once you get the resource right here, you've downloaded it. This contains the script. So basically, you can just copy and paste here. And by the way, you're also required to install pandas. And to install, like I told you, basically you just need to come to the terminal. Here you can access the terminal by toggling. Clicking here, the toggle panel, you get the terminal, and basically you can just pip install pandas. Like I told you, I already have it installed, so I wouldn't have to go installing that. Okay, so I will go ahead and explain what this script means. Okay, we are importing OS, and what does this do? Well, because we have to input our API, which we'll need from open routers. By the way, I will because this is actually it requires a paid version of the API. We have already purchased these credits and will provide um, access to this account, so you can use the APIs as well, okay, to work on your project. Will actually communicate the credentials to this account to Mr. Chike, so you can actually work together and use the API when building a project. So um, basically, when you get your API, okay, from open routers, okay, the reason why we are importing it is just to safely allow us to impute our API in a .env environment. Well, how did I get here, and what's a .env environment? Well, as cybersecurity analyst, you are actually supposed to be aware that when well, this part is called cybersecurity secure coding practices rather, and you are actually supposed to ensure that APIs. By the way, this API key, I will revoke it, shortly after this class, because it's, crucial, right? So you don't hard code APIs here, okay, in your code. You actually put it safely in a .env environment. Well, how can you create a file? To actually begin this project, you need to create a file, sock.py, and to do that, you can just come here, okay, you create a new file, and you can name it I'll just name it lab.py, just so you have an idea. This is where you start from. Okay, you click save, you create a file, and then you can see we have lab.py. Okay, and that's same, you do the same for .env environment, where you'll be putting your um, your APIs, right? Okay, which is this. That's how we arrived here. Okay, and you safely, since we are using open routers, okay, you are going to put the command open router underscore API underscore key. Okay, then you safely put your API keys here. If you were using open AI, so basically what you'll be doing here is you'll be putting open AI, okay, and not router, open AI underscore API underscore key. And I hope you understand this. Okay, so what is this code actually doing? Well, let's start from the beginning. Like I said, this import OS will allow us to safely put in our API keys in our .env. Streamlit, well, this is just a lightweight UI, enabler. Basically, this is just so we have our user interface, such as this, what we are building, okay, and that's why we have Streamlit. That's why um, we've installed this library, okay. And pandas will help us with the CSV, because basically most of the logs, they come in either CSV, comma separated value, or JSON, right? So pandas will help us, uploading that and enriching that. And we have .env, okay, which is a library that will actually read our API that is from here. Basically, it's just like a connector to tell our script here that we have a .env environment, which we've set our key. Okay, then we have QAI. QAI, don't forget, this is the library which we'll be using to build AI agent, and it's comprising of four important components, and I'll explain this. One is the agent, the task, the crew, and it should be processed, but because we are using open routers, basically third party, that's why we are using LLM here, because we are actually using a large language model powered by open routers, right? So here basically what we are doing, we are telling it to load our .env environment, and we are setting our API key, which we stored here, inside our environment. Okay, and OS is enabling us to do that. So this is just a control message to say, okay, if API is missing, well, give the user this error. Okay. Well, this is just about the layout and how it looks. I'm talking about the user interface. Okay. And I'll scroll down to what actually matters. These are all on the user interface. Well, this is not what we are looking at. And I'll scroll that. Well, this, like I told you, these are just control messages for better user experience. When your logs are uploaded successfully, it shows this, and this is uh, basically just a placeholder asking, well, ask a question about the logs, and this is captured um, right here. When we upload the logs, well, you'll see it. Okay, so and this is the model we are using. We are using the OpenAI GPT-4.0 rather mini LLM powered from openrouter.ai, and like I said, we'll provide access to that account, so you'll be able to have um, the um, access, right? So basically, you can see what are we doing. We are giving it context, okay? Because in every agent there will be a role, there's a goal, and there's a backstory. Backstory is basically giving helping it understand the true context, right, of what we actually want. And as you can see, we are saying, okay, because we want it to actually understand and analyze the logs. Okay, we're actually saying it, okay, you are acting as a senior SOC analyst. That's the role we're giving you, and the goal is to analyze cybersecurity logs and identify threats and anomalies. Well, anomalies means what is not normal, like if you are logging in, if we already have policies, employees shouldn't log in after 6 p.m. and you log in by 8 p.m. That's an anomaly, right? Because it's deviating from our existing protocols, right? So the goal is to analyze cybersecurity logs, security logs in general, and backstory. We are helping these understand verbose. We want to see everything running, okay, so we can troubleshoot in case there are issues, right? And these are just placeholders, okay, which are captured on the UI, and you can see these are the instructions that I should explain in simple English. And you may be wondering, okay, why are we actually doing this? Well, if you notice, if you were to be given logs to analyze in Splunk, for instance, or QRadar, right? Knowing all these commands in SPL, or if at all it's in SQL, if you are using Athena in AWS, keeping up with these commands is actually it's complex and it's challenging. But here you get to AI agents are actually helping us to actually work this thing out in plain language, right? In normal language, right? And when you run this, that is by running uh, Streamlit, okay? That is by running this command, when you must have copied and paste Streamlit, then you run the name of your file here, which is soc.py, okay? So you are running it in your terminal here, okay? And then this will open in a browser, giving you the local host URL and the network URL. Either one you click, okay, it will take you here, which is the interface of what we've built right here. Okay, and as you can see, we can be able to upload our logs because we've instructed this using libraries which we've installed, and this is connected at this point to GPT-5, right? To GPT-4 rather, mini, right? So, and well, we can be able to upload logs. For instance, this is, by the way, this log is actually, you must have practiced with this because it's already on the site. Okay, so I believe you must have um, practiced with that log. Okay, rather here. Um, well, it's here, and I believe you must have practiced using that log. Otherwise, with that event rather. Otherwise, it's in our GitHub, and I'll share it as well. Okay, so back to the logs. I've uploaded this log, which is BNS practice, already on the site. You must have practiced with it. And well, this is just the log view and preview rather. And you can see we can gain insights already into this. But what about if we ask questions? Okay, like how many users are in this log, and investigate. As you can see, we are using um, normal language, okay, to actually investigate into this because we have already um, built an agent which understands context, and it has read the content of this CSV, okay, which is our log. And I'll make it an investigate any anomaly. Well, I guess someone is trying to join. Um, so I'll admit. So, and I'll click analyze logs. And as you can see, BNS AI is analyzing logs, okay? Which the outcome will actually give us insights, okay, into what is in this log. So what did we eliminate? We've eliminated human intervention. Okay. By the way, we can integrate, mind you, we said we can integrate this, okay, into existing systems, which means we don't even have to upload it. For this is a basic system. So, and that's why we are uploading. We can integrate, capture it via webhook or API, and fully this can be analyzing, while the logs keep coming in, right? Just a second, I'm getting some questions right here. I do not understand. Well, Mr. Collins, what is it that you don't understand? Can you be specific so I understand where to guide you? So, however, before that, as you can see, this is the report. Okay, the date of analysis is reflecting the date of that the date right here. You can see that these logs were actually captured, right? And you can see it's actually giving us insight into what is in this log, you can see the users here: Samuel Salami, Dennis Sunday, Boa Oferami. And if you check here, well, this is exactly the users that are captured here, and these are various events which they use. Some have even used user agents such as Nikito, which nmap, which actually means something. So why don't we go ahead and see? So we can see anomaly investigation upon reviewing the logs, and this is actually explaining in plain language, which actually simplifies the process, right? And you can see, well, some people failed their login attempts, and this is the status code. And if you should go back to the original logs, you find out that, well, that is exactly what is captured with the response code. Okay, so basically our agent is helping simplify the process. Okay, is helping simplify the process. So you can see with text generation and also understanding context, okay, into what is happening in the logs. Like I said, it can be integrated, okay, into real-time infrastructures such that we can be listening and capturing logs, okay, monitoring, and while it understands context, in case there's any anomaly, it can escalate to tier 2, okay, for further investigation. So, yes, Mr. Collins, let me take your question. Mr. Collins, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
Yep, good evening, Mr. Collins.
Thank you.
So, what's your question? Yep.
My question is, I didn't get when you were creating the sub profile on the VS Studio. Please, can you
Okay.
share your VS Studio with us again? Let me,
Yes.
so I can see what I am asking. This
Okay.
SOC PY.
Dot.
You
Okay.
you talked about how to create the folder. I was trying to
Yes.
follow, but
The
I didn't
file.
get it.
Okay. So to create soc.py, you can just come to file. Okay.
Okay.
So you create a new file and make sure while creating, okay,
Yeah.
soc, you include the extension so VS Code understands that this is a Python file. The py means it's a Python file. Okay, so it will treat it as one.
Okay.
Hope you understand me. Okay, so
Yes.
I created lab. Okay, at this point, I'll create bns.py. I'll
Okay.
start again.
Okay.
File, new file,
Yes.
bns.py. I click enter.
Yes.
I save it or I choose the directory I will want this to be in, whether in desktop or in a folder. It doesn't
Yes.
matter. Okay, I create the file, and as you can see, we have
Terrible.
bns.py.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you do the same for .env, and you can copy the script right from here, right? Under resources, you have the script, you can just copy and paste. You just have to wait for your open router API, which I'll share with the team lead, Mr. Chike, so you can be able to complete your project, which will be assigned to you. I'm sharing this
Okay.
because this will require credits. Okay, we've already purchased that. Because you can also use this, you can also use OpenAI, like I said, directly. Okay, you just need to change some parts of the code, which is here. Instead of Open Router API, you're putting OpenAI instead of Open Router, and you leave everything the same. Okay,
Okay.
exactly. So you actually have options if you want to go about this, or you can even download a large language model like Olama to your system. Okay, depending on how you want to go about this. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
uh, you're welcome. So does anyone have any question? Are you lost? Do you have any question? please don't hesitate to ask questions, so we all be on the same page so that we can actually be able to complete this project, okay, on time, right? So we can proceed to the next project. Okay. Do you have any concern? Yep, Mr. Roland.
Yeah, yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Roland.
Yeah. Please, I want to know
Okay.
the purpose of these AI agents uh is to analyze the log for us, right?
Yep. Yep. For this particular use case which we've built,
Yeah.
okay, is to analyze the logs for us.
Okay. So, if we are to let's say in a real scenario now, like
Yep.
if we are working, if we have these results like you show us, please can
Mm-hmm.
you go back to that, please?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we have this result,
Yes.
so how can we report? Is this how we will give report like how it shows here, or
Yeah. Yes.
is
This
there
is
a template?
okay. You see, every organization, okay,
Hmm.
has a template for their reports, I believe. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
it's at their discretion, right?
Hmm.
As long as it's capturing key security questions which needs to be answered, like who logged in, when, how, basically questions which are required for auditing, right?
Okay.
Exactly. So, as you know, we can actually be able to include um, email reporting, download reports, and all that here. But basically, at this point, I just want you to grasp um, the basics of building AI agents for cybersecurity use case. Okay, we can even integrate this with cloud platforms. We can integrate this with Splunk. Okay, there are numerous of things we can do with this existing dashboard that you can see here. Okay, and you can see from here, you can see deploy. Okay, we may decide to, like I told you, we can deploy to cloud platforms, even hardwares. Okay, depending on our use case or what we are actually trying to achieve. Okay, hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, does anyone have any question before I introduce the project which you will actually do? Does anyone have any question? Okay, so now that we have actually done one use case, okay, and like I said, you'll be given access to this platform, Open Router. Okay, basically, there are lots of models captured here. Models which are actually used for several use cases. You can see OpenAI, GPT-5. You can see just a sec. So you can see GPT-5.5. You can see DeepSeek, a couple of models right here for various use cases with over billion parameters. That is to tell you the extent at which um, leading industries are going, just so they adapt to what everyone believe at this point is the future of technology, which cybersecurity is not exempt from. AI have actually changed how industries such as cybersecurity, handle tasks workflows, to simplify um, challenging or repetitive tasks, to reduce mean time to detect, mean time to respond. Okay, imagine if you had uh, 3,000 events to investigate who logged in, detect anomalies. For instance, I'll give you an instance. Okay, um, I work with about three organizations at this point. One is Aegis North in British Columbia in Canada. The other is United Progressive Party of Canada. And not just because we want to secure, but also to comply. We have to keep put controls in place which we can be able to answer questions such as what has happened, where, what are our assets, tampered with, all these questions we need to ask. And that is why building AI agents is actually instrumental, you know, in our workflow. And like I said, we've integrated one, which you should also take note of. If you wouldn't even want to download, if you don't want to download this script, you can also ask here, and you get the script. Basically, if you are stuck somewhere in the project, you can ask a question right here. And if you're having challenges, with the responses, like I told you, we are trying to train. Okay, and that's what um, everyone right here you see here is trying to do. Okay, all these models you see as constantly being trained, some by responses or feedbacks which we get from users such as you. Okay, we are able to make it more intelligent, right, by the resources which is supplied to the agent itself. Okay, so right here, okay, like I said, we have a lot of models right here, and as you can see, the Mistral, Sourceful, Next Gen, Amazon, there are lots of them, Grok, and so on. And well, you can be able to use these models, without limitation, because we have um, credits for that. Okay, so right now, the use case which we've solved is investigating logs. Okay. How about if you enhance this, okay, to detect malware? Okay. And that will be your use case. And as you can see, we have, like I said, there are a couple of use cases right here. Okay. Such as phishing analysis, such as what we've done, incident response, okay, threat intelligence, log analysis, IAM monitoring. Okay, so well, at this point, I wouldn't want to, malware is one of it, okay, but I will want you to use your discretion to choose from these use cases, okay, what um, use case you'll be using. Okay, what will you solve? What will you use an AI agent to solve? Okay, there are numerous of them right here. Okay, so if it's IAM monitoring, do let us know. Okay, so we can provide an account which you can be able to use. Okay, purchase the credits or necessary resources which you will require to complete this project. Okay, the project is to use one of these use cases. Okay, and right now, um, this is where, this is our second project. We are moving to our last project before we run off this internship. At this point, well, you can actually decide to do this individually and solve any use case you believe will position you properly for a job role, okay, or whatever you're actually doing. And you can also extend, to GRC if you are looking at GRC as well. This is not limited to this. You can also extend to GRC and actually see what challenge you can be able to solve in GRC, whether it's being report generation, or playbook, anything basically useful in the security operations team, okay, which you can be able to use, okay. So I hope this is clear, and before we go, okay, I would love to know if there's any concern or any challenge you believe you may encounter where we can share with me so I throw more light. Okay, yes, please proceed.
When is the deadline for submission?
The deadline of submission will be in 3 weeks' time. Okay, and that's because I noticed our previous project, we had to extend it because others were not able to complete on time, probably due to schedule issues. Okay, so it's in 3 weeks' time from now, and we'll also communicate the deadline, via the site. Okay, hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Colin.
you said in 2 weeks or 3 weeks,
In
three or
three
two.
in 3 weeks. In three
Oh,
weeks.
3 weeks. Okay,
Yes,
good. All right.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Mr. Chicken. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Like I said earlier on. Okay. I'm sure. Um, a lot of you are trying to position for various roles. Okay, and some of these use cases, apply to some roles. Okay, for those who are, and that's why I said for those who are looking at GRC, okay, they can go the GRC way and actually solve a challenge where they can use this knowledge they have to build an AI agent to solve a particular challenge in GRC, okay, or if you're looking at the SOC team, okay, SOC analyst route, you can solve one of these challenges, okay, right? So basically, after you must have um, after you must have gotten one challenge which you would like to solve, okay, um, you can actually communicate with us right here, or you can just send a mail so we know what you are doing and we keep track and also supervise. However, the credentials will share it with you. So whenever whenever someone wants um, keys, okay, you can simply just create one for them, okay. However, you have to adhere to cybersecurity best practices. You don't include API keys in case you intend to use AI platforms to actually gain more insights, okay, or more control into your project. You shouldn't include the API key because that will mean you have exposed it, okay. And if you try to run using that key, you find out that it wouldn't work, okay, because you have already exposed it, right? So hope I've answered you, Mr. Chike. Yep. 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 By phishing emails, do you mean accounts? Do you mean accounts? Well, that will not be provided. Okay. You have to take control over that. However, we can recommend tools like MX Mails, which you can be able to use. It's a sandbox which you can be able to use, configure, and send mails and receive it. You basically be provided with two mails, which you can get a sender and a receiver. Okay, but we wouldn't provide mails. We can only provide access to APIs to these models at this point. So um, you can actually, and this houses lots of models. You can research what model will fit your use case, and you simply um, use it from here. Okay, you get the API and you use it from here. Any model, basically, we have models trained on malware detection, text generation, reports generation, and so on and so forth, depending on your use case. Okay, hope I've answered you. Okay, so in the absence of any more question, okay, we'll call this a day. And also, please note that after you must have downloaded this, please do not complete the program. Okay, don't complete the program. What I mean, don't go before what we'll do next. Okay, because that will exclude you. It will just show you that you've completed the program and you won't be able to have access. You have to rejoin. Okay, so once you download, please wait for us so we upload contents of our next project. Thank you so much for joining. Do have a nice day ahead. And I believe for those who are not able to join, transcript of this session will be shared in the group by Mr. Chike. Thank you once again.